Okay, is everybody coming in? Let's see, we got 25 people. We have way more than that signed up. We might give everyone another minute to get settled in. Don't worry, if you are trying to seek Missouri CLE credit, we will make up for that minute or two on the back end of this and try to get you done before your lunch break or what you need to work on during lunch. I can tell you I was just editing a brief that's due today. I know there's a lot going on, so we thank you all for being here. Abby, our producer, can you hear me okay? Great. Emily Weber, she will be joining us. I will introduce her in a moment. Yeah, I'll give it till 11:03 because I have things to do as well. Hope everyone's doing well during this holiday season. Everyone's keeping their sanity about them. Let's see here. Okay. Hmm. 35 people. All right, we're getting there. I should also note before anyone asks that we will be sending out a recording of this as well as the slides that we're using. So if you want those or need those, already getting comments from some of our participants about our photos, which I will note are all public record, not photoshopped in any way. Except I get those two are not in a cage match. I guess I should note that was made. That we did Photoshop. But okay, it's 11:03. Let's get started. This is Renew Missouri. We are going to be talking about the data center divide. A data center is a very contentious topic among policy and lawmakers as well as the public. We want to talk about this issue in the prism of one specific set of lawmakers who have had a dispute about this as a way of hopefully enlightening everyone about some of the other issues that are going on here. So let's go on to the next slide, Abby. Yes. Who is Renew Missouri? That's a good question. It's a question I ask myself every day. Who are we? What are we doing here? We were founded in 2006, so that means we are going to be celebrating our 20th anniversary next year, which is very exciting. We were founded to advance renewable energy and energy efficiency ideas in the state of Missouri. That is kind of being adjusted a little bit to deal with things like battery energy storage systems, which we also support, as well as other like programs for low-income customers and beneficial electrification. We are working on those projects as well. Uh, During this 20-year existence, we have worked on legislation. We have passed a statewide ballot initiative. We've worked on local ordinances for cities and represented the interest of clean energy before the Public Service Commission, before the Missouri Legislature, before the Kansas City City Council, St. Louis City Council, Springfield City Council, any city council that will listen to us. We are in front of them. What are we doing? What do we do? We work with county and city offices all over the state, as well as state officials. We should fix that. We work with everybody. We work with federal officials as well. I should note. We work with anybody who will take our call. We work on energy efficiency programs, access to solar, access to wind, general laws that reflect our mission, reflect our values. We also talk to the public. We talk to supporters. We do what we can to educate the public on these ideas to help them garner support and just for people to learn about them. I think that's important as a nonprofit is to educate. So that's what we're doing today, hopefully. Next slide, please. Oh, who am I? I'm James Owen. That's an old picture. That's a 13-year-old headshot. I actually have a new one. Abby, don't let me don't, let me send you. I have a new headshot. Or we could use the one I got from This Week in Missouri Politics that I just did on Sunday. Please check that out on YouTube where I talk about data centers quite a bit on there. I am an attorney. I'm a former judge. Believe it or not, I have sometimes trouble believing that. I also used to serve as the public counsel for the state of Missouri, where I was the ratepayer advocate before the Public Service Commission. More on that in a bit. I think that's from an old CLE as well. I like how I edit these as I'm doing the presentation. I should really do that before we go live in front of all these people. Most importantly to me, as I was born and raised on a dairy farm in Webster County, Missouri. I am a farm kid. My family still has that farm. Thankfully, not dairy cattle anymore because, my gosh, that's a lot of work. Joining us today, and I don't really know if this was last minute. I just didn't we didn't add her. Is our Kansas City coordinator and sitting state representative, Emily Weber. Hi, Emily.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? I'm great to be here. Is there anything about your bio you would like to share?
Kind of like you, I was raised in well, not rural Missouri, but rural
Right.
Kansas.
Yes.
And grew up around dairy cows as well.
Yeah.
So, have that in common. But yeah, I've been a state rep for 5 years now, representing District 24, Midtown downtown area of KC, and I've been with Renew for 3 years.
You were high. I know we hired you in August of 23, so close to 3 years. Please, can we see Emily's photo? Yes, I will get you a photo of Emily Weber. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure we have a good headshot of you. So
Somewhere.
somewhere. And Tyler Travers, who is our policy coordinator, is going to be here to talk as well. But unfortunately, he is at a family funeral in Ohio and unable to attend today. So we are sending our thoughts and prayers to his family because I know he needs them right now. So, and Nicole Mers, our general counsel, she is not a formal presenter. However, we are going to be talking about a number of Public Service Commission related uh, decisions and functions. So I'm very much hoping she can chime in if I don't know the answer to something, which is probably quite a bit because I have a lot to do here, including editing our PowerPoints, which I'm not doing very well. Abby, if we can unmute Nicole if she's on here at some point, we might need that. So yeah, great. Thanks. All right, next slide, please. Schedule. I realize that's kind of a funny way to describe this. I guess it's a agenda, but schedule works too. We'll do an introduction. We are going to talk a little bit about the Ameren rate case that was I'm trying to remember was that was litigated this year. I don't know if it was litigated or we just all agreed to the stipulation and agreement. I'm not entirely sure, but the rate case that was approved by regulators this year, we will talk a little bit about that. That is relevant to this conversation. We are also going to talk about the Ameren Evergy large load tariff um, dockets that also received a decision from the Public Service Commission, really just in the past month or so. Evergy and Ameren came in seeking special proposals and kind of special structures for large load customers. I know that can be any large load customer, but I mean I think it's safe to say that a lot of the purpose of that filing was to try to appeal to data centers to come to Missouri to give them opportunities and beneficial programs to move to their service territory since their purpose is to sell electricity, and that was a way of trying to be, kind of moving into that economic development opportunity for them. So we'll be talking about that a little bit. All of that relates to a letter that was sent to the president of Ameren, Missouri, in October by U.S. Senator Josh Hawley. We are going to talk about that letter, which received a response from Senator and Senate President Pro Tem Cindy O'Laughlin, who sought to correct errors in that letter by Senator Hawley, which she cites provisions of Senate Bill 4, which she says protect average ratepayers from data center from expenses incurred to provide electricity for data centers. We're going to talk a little bit about what those provisions are in Senate Bill 4 and whether or not they work that way or not. Uh, and I should have corrected this. Gosh, but it's still U.S. Senator Hawley's reply to Senator O'Laughlin. Oh, I'm already going over my time, so I got to get through this. Well, but we'll talk about all those things. We're also going to talk a little bit about an executive order that President Trump signed just last week, just last Thursday, and then maybe we'll have time for a Q&A if I shut up. So let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay. Well, if I'm talking too much, let's skip this part, okay? Because this is literally just summarizing what we're going to talk about here in a minute. So let's just skip it. Next slide. Okay. So it is important, as I said, to start with talking about the Ameren rate case that was filed last year, that was adjudicated this year, that included a lot of stakeholders that were involved with that case, including Renew Missouri, including the Public Service Commission staff, including the Office of Public Counsel, as well as a number of shareholders, some of whom stakeholders, excuse me, not shareholders, not the people who own stock in Ameren. They weren't involved with this case, including, I'm sure, some that are on this webinar. So we welcome you. So the Public Service Commission, in their role of doing things, among others, as far as approving rates, approved a $355 million increase in rates to Ameren. That was less than what they sought. And keep in mind, you should also point out, I mean, the reason that they are seeking these increases, for those who might not be as versed in this, Ameren has been making a lot of investments into their infrastructure, generation of power, transmission of power, distribution of power. They are entitled to have compensation for that as well as a rate of return, which is also part of a rate case to have that rate of return, that ROI set, which is also very contentious, in addition to whether or not they are justified in seeking reimbursement from ratepayers for their investments. I will also note before anyone is critical of us, I am aware that some of these rate increases were based on the fact that they were building renewable generation, like wind, like solar, etc. So, we understand that there's been a lot of capital investments by the utilities in the state. A lot of that has been until probably the next couple of years, have all been centered around renewable energy. That's probably going to change a little bit here in the next 10 years or so. But we had a good run, didn't we, folks? Yeah. In addition to the rate increase, for those who might not be as versed on it, there's also a question about how that rate increase is going to how is going to impact customers in different ways. Like whether you're a residential customer, a large scale customer, or a business customer, according to this, they all receive the same rate increase. Is that true, Nicole Murs? Is that how that worked? You can go off mic if you can.
Yes, by the terms of the stipulation, they all had an equal percent increase to their rates.
Thank you for that. Also, I should note we don't have a photo for Nicole either. Um, I don't think I don't think was prepared to be on here. That was kind of a surprise to her this morning. Um, so yeah, she's our general counsel, and she also used to work at the Public Service Commission staff as a lawyer for them. The increase was around 12%. Average residential users saw about a $14 increase on their monthly bill. I guess we have a little summary there. I don't know if that's one of our bills or not, one of our staff members who's an Ameren customer or not. I don't know where we got that. This bill became this bill, not this bill. These rates became effective on June 1st. So, I mean, as a lot of you may or may not know, we have an 11-month rate period in Missouri, typically from the time a rate case is filed to when it goes into effect. That is just a shade under a year that we go through all of that. That is deliberate. That is intentional. I think part of the reason that we make rate cases as lengthy as they are, and I think as costly as they can be, is I don't know. Should I be saying this part aloud? I'll say it out loud anyway. This is to keep utility companies from coming in a lot to seek rate increases all the time. So that's what we're trying to avoid, and I think that's the reason why we make it as long as it is. We have over in the 10 years or so that I've been doing this work in some form or fashion. I know there's been some experiments with trying to shorten that time period, but anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so let's keep in mind Senator Hawley, yeah, U.S. Senator Josh Hawley, who is the senior senator for the state of Missouri. He wrote this letter prior to those large load tariff cases being decided. He wrote this letter. Um, we have it highlighted. I'm going to just go to the next slide, which kind of summarizes it. There we go. He wrote to the Ameren CEO expressing his concerns about electricity rates that were being increased while cutting power to thousands of Missouri households. He questioned whether residential customers are forced to subsidize power for new data centers and larger industrial users. He further requested an explanation and reasoning for Ameren's proposed 15% rate increase and how this might affect vulnerable families. Similarly, wow, okay. He asked whether these data center contracts will have an impact on residential rates and if Ameren will protect customers from taking on costs associated with large corporate clients. Okay, a little bit about this letter, which I think is important to note, which we noted, which Renew Missouri noted when the letter first was making news. There was some news reports about this, especially in the Ameren service territory, about this letter being sent to the Ameren CEO. Let's start with the first thing. One, there are lots of public explanations for why they wanted this rate increase. Like that is part of the Public Service Commission file. Anyone can access that. I mean, I'm certain that the senator wanted this in the CEO's own words. Oh, yeah, we just got a request to go back to the letter. Let's go back to the letter really quick. I can talk about this while being on that letter. Okay. Um, it kind of, it's kind of an issue, and Emily, we can talk about this a little bit, that even for our lawmakers who are extremely smart and extremely savvy and extremely knowledgeable, the Public Service Commission remains a bit of a mystery, does it not?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're on the House Utilities Committee. But I mean, you don't practice in front of the Public Service Commission. You're not a lawyer. You're not an expert witness.
Yeah.
Your job largely with Renew Missouri is to work with the city of Kansas City on various things and work on various projects we've got with Evergy. But I mean, there's only like a handful of people who actually like, I would say, know about the Public Service Commission.
Fully understand it too. Yeah.
Right. So that's understandable. I might be like, why are these rates going up? And one of the things that we don't talk about in some of these slides is there has been a lot of documentation. There is now a rule that the utilities have to submit information about disconnections that they're doing for customers in their service territory, or at least I should say Ameren, Evergy, and Liberty Empire need to do that. That does not apply to municipal utilities or to the rural electric cooperatives. But there is a lot of attention that's given to, especially when it's summer and when it's winter, you hear a lot about disconnections, interruption of service. Yes, you're welcome, Cheryl. Thank you for everything. Um, there's a lot of concern about that, legitimately. And I think it's certainly a legitimate concern that Senator Hawley raises that Airman's got this rate increase coming and they're still disconnecting people. We'll talk about that a little bit when we get to Senate Bill 4. But then the question of data center expansion, that's number 3 on here, where he says Ameren's recent agreements to provide hundreds of megawatts of power to new data centers raises serious concerns about cross-subsidization. Has Ameren analyzed how these industrial contracts will affect residential prices? Well, let's be clear about this. To my knowledge, when this rate increase was being sought by Ameren, there were no data centers being built in Ameren service territory. Okay. Evergy has, I think, two. I know, and Emily, I know we've talked about this. Meta, Facebook, their data center in North Kansas City, I think, is running and is operational now.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Google is also looking in that same area. They are building there. They are relying. They are working on that. I think that's actually going to be bigger than Meta's. But those are in Evergy service territory. And Evergy did get a agreement with Meta. This was a couple of years ago, maybe 2023. I can't remember where they were going to be selling wind power to Meta. Google is got a contract where they're working with a solar company to build a very controversial solar array. Yes, well, the solar plant in Henry County is going to be powering the Google plant. I think I saw that from Adam, and yeah, and that's going to be a lot of that's going to be a big project. Again, very controversial, lawsuits filed, that sort of thing. Um, and also subject, I think, kind of one of the basis for Senator Cindy O'Laughlin, who we're going to talk about here in a minute, for filing a solar moratorium that was filed 2 weeks ago. But that okay. So anyway, so the point being that I think it's safe to say none of Ameren's rate increases from this past rate case had anything to do with data centers. Okay, so that's we wanted to point that out. Now, let's go to the next slide. I got my clock. Okay, we already did that one. All right, next one. Okay. So, U.S. Senator Josh Hawley writes that letter on the 15th of October, which I believe was Wednesday. I don't know if anyone wants to check me on that. Then the next day, Senator and President pro tempore. Is that how you say that? I don't know if that's how you say it. I always say Senate President pro tem. I don't know how you pronounce it. Okay, thanks, Abby. Uh, she responds to this letter from Senator Josh Hawley, U.S. Senator Josh Hawley. I saw that you recently shared a headline about energy rates in Missouri and suggested that the increase could be tied to data center development. While I appreciate your concern for Missouri consumers, that claim is misleading and without proper context can unnecessarily alarm the very people we both serve. As someone who spends every day here working to keep Missouri's energy policy balanced, I want to make sure you have the full picture. Earlier this year, the General Assembly passed Senate Bill 4, legislation designed specifically to protect Missouri consumers from higher electric rates caused by large industrial users, including data centers. This is one of the reasons our state remains competitive for investment while maintaining some of the most affordable, reliable electricity in the Midwest. We believe growth and consumer protection can coexist, and in Missouri, they do. Okay. That is how Senator O'Laughlin responded to that, to Senator Hawley's letter to Ameren. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Oh yeah, well it's the same one. I mean, I think that's basically which is good. So you can kind of get okay. So let's move on to the next slide from that. Okay, Emily, you and I are going to talk about Senate Bill 4 a little bit. Okay, so last session in 2024 and before 2024. Okay, so like in August of 2024, there were convenings in Jefferson City, public convenings, which included the Public Service Commission, which included stakeholders, which included the governor, uh, I think at the time he was running for governor in 2024, and they were having these meetings saying, folks, data centers are coming to Missouri. They are going to produce a lot of tax revenue. They are going to create a lot of economic development. And let me keep in mind, this is not Renew Missouri's position. This is the position of the people speaking at these convenings, and they were hosted by the Public Service Commission. And they said they're coming, and we need to be ready for them. And right now, as I think it was a consensus among most people working in energy policy and utility rate making in Missouri, demand in Missouri had been relatively flat for decades in Missouri. We had not seen significant increases in demand for power. Um, and they were saying now with these data centers that we would have them. Now, I would also argue that I think you're seeing more electrification of homes, apartments. You're seeing more electrification of vehicles. I can speak to myself that I drive a partially electric car, which is powered by a plug-in at my house. You are going to see a more. You're not only going to see these demand centers coming in, but you're going to see more electrification. So we got to make more power. We got to build more power. We got to do it quick, real fast, real fast. So, so Senate Bill 4 initially was a number of different bills. It ended up became an omnibus piece of legislation. That among other things basically said, well, Missouri voters back in 1976 passed an anti-quit bill that prevented Missouri utilities from charging ratepayers for the construction of power plants while they're being built, before they're in use. And that passed, and that was, I know that was 50 years ago. It was a long time ago. A lot of those people are like dead now that voted for it. I get it. But we did have that law for a while. Senate Bill 4 and its other components sought to undo that provision for natural gas plants. I would point it was not specifically for like all forms of generation. It was specifically for natural gas plants. And the purpose of that, we were told, was that we need to get money to the utilities faster so they can build these gas plants to build data centers. Which, I mean, let's forget about the fact that we've already mentioned the two data centers in Evergy service territory are largely being run off of renewable energy. But I would also point out that, like, say, as an example, and this is not a utility regulated by the state of Missouri, but the city of Independence has just announced that they're trying to attract a data center to their jurisdiction, and they are wanting to build a massive gas plant in the middle of its town to facilitate that. Okay, so there are data centers that want to use gas plants. I get it. There are a lot of people who would see economic benefit from this. I believe the idea would be that if there are tax revenue generated from these data centers, that local school districts will get them, local counties will get them. Laborers, union folks, they want to see the jobs that are created from building these. So there's a lot of like different varied interests that were interested in this, not just people who wanted to build data centers or utility companies. Um, Yes, that is right, Elise. That is right. If there are also going to be tax cuts, tax abatements that are going to be offered. It would not surprise me because I think this is what's being offered in the City of Independence, that we would have a Chapter 100 agreement as opposed to regular tax agreements where it's kind of like where kind of like the terms of revenue are going to be assessed based on that agreement as opposed to like regular tax assessment. We call those pilots. And for those who don't know what pilots are, those are payments in lieu of taxes. We love our acronyms in this world. Yes, thank you, Abby. Okay, so what was Senator O'Laughlin talking about? Okay, she was talking about there is a provision. And by the way, Elise, I would note, if this looks familiar to you, I largely stole this from the Missouri Coalition for the Environment's blog post on this, which I know that you and I talked about a little bit. Yeah, I know. We love you. That we largely we kind of talked about prior to that, and kind of talking about how there is language in Senate Bill 4 that says that unjust and unreasonable costs cannot be passed on to other ratepayers. What does that mean? Why, I don't know. If you want to say anything in the law that kicks the can down the road. Just say, well, we're looking for whatever's reasonable. And that's not really defined by the law. That's kind of what we have there for like judges or commissioners to say, well, this seems reasonable to me. And that's to their discretion. It's like pornography. You see, you know it when you see it. Or maybe you don't think it is. Like in the case, they might not see it as being reasonable or not. So, um, and it does not address any environmental impacts because, I mean, I can tell you one thing that you hear a lot of opponents of data centers say is that in addition to these things consuming large amounts of power, they also consume a large amount of water as well. Now, there are exceptions to that. I know that there are some data centers like Apple's data centers in Iowa that kind of recycle their water,
And
which
I
is
think
good.
also
Pardon?
say Meta data center also recycles their
Yeah,
water.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I think can we you toured that, did you not,
I
Emily?
did. I did.
Okay. I know you couldn't like talk much about what you saw, but you did. I didn't know it was okay for you to say that you did do it. Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah, yeah.
right.
I couldn't take pictures, but no, I mean
Okay.
they do a lot of renewable and as much recycling as possible to not waste anything or take resources from um, the area they're on or
Yeah,
around.
got it. Okay, yeah, right. And so yeah, there is, and I mean, and I think that's one of the another critique of data centers is the technology involved in the construction of them, how they're operated, is evolving in a very fast rate. And so, this idea that we are basing decisions right now on what data centers look like and how they're constructed in 2025 might look different in 2030. Like an example that I know, our colleagues at the Office of Public Counsel will point to is DeepSeek, which is a AI that has been developed in China that basically uses other AI to develop AI, which is much less energy intensive. I don't know if that works, but it certainly does reflect the fact that we could be building a lot of power for a lot of data centers that maybe technology will make obsolete at some point, very near term future. I don't know. If I knew, I'd probably be working for one of those companies, right? I wouldn't be doing this. But okay. And then also, I think what's important to note is that how large load customers are defined by that statute are anyone that is using 100 megawatts of power or more. That would negate any kind of this applying to, like, let's say, a 50 megawatt uh, large load user or 75 megawatt. Or like, I mean, I think you could technically like have these on separate meters and you could okay, yeah, I got three clocks now, so I better get moving. Okay. All right, next slide. Well, you get the idea. There's a lot of ambiguity in Senate Bill 4. Okay. So this is the reply we got to Senator O'Loughlin's letter. And let me just say, and this is not really a legal thing, but let me just say, because we were kind of talking about this as we were going through the run through, like, I don't know if you all remember a time when lawmakers would, I don't know, not do all of this by letter writing or by social media. Like, we might actually have convenings about this. We might have like people come in and offer their input and everything else. It seems like those days might be over. I don't know, maybe. Emily Weber, do you think those days are over? I don't
I
know.
mean, I hope those days are not over, but it seems like those days right now are over where we are getting our updates from social media and people are looking at Senator O'Loughlin's Facebook page to get
Oh,
updates on what is happening. And that is, you know,
like how maybe the solar industry found out about the solar moratorium, as an example,
exactly.
which, as other people might have approached it, not saying it's wrong, but as some others might have approached it, they might have had some preliminary meetings with the industry, had some meetings with some other concerned people who have valid, I mean, let's say there are valid criticisms of like how solar is developed in this state, no doubt about it. Um, and we could have like hashed all that out and come up with something. Instead, we get this. I'm going to introduce this piece of legislation. So,
Mhm.
and I get it. I mean, we are a social media driven society that includes our politicians. Senator Hawley has a podcast. Senator Laughlin, maybe she should have a podcast. What do you think, Emily?
I don't know. Maybe that'd be interesting.
That'd be interesting. We have a podcast. Maybe she should come on it. If anyone is spying on us for her, that's listening to this, um, just know we would love to have the senator on and talk about that. So, and she might see she likes podcasts and she might be able to do that. That might be good. So, Josh Hawley wrote this. Cindy O'Loughlin, state politician, doesn't refer to her as by her formal title, I should note. And also, I don't get the sense that they know each other from this. Do you get that sense, Emily?
I mean, that's really looking at that now, which I'm not gonna lie, just looking at that, Cindy O'Loughlin, state politician, that's an awkward way of writing that.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
It's really awkward on how I mean, are you gonna put state politician in air quotes too? It's just a very awkward way of writing that. Address the senator. It's
Yeah.
Senator O'Laughlin. Um,
Well, it's obviously diminishing,
it really
right?
is. It really is. You might as well just put the air quotes in. I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah. Alleged human. Uh, but yeah, okay. Because he is the senior U.S. Senator for the state of Missouri. She is the leader of, arguably one of the two or three most powerful leaders in state government.
100% she would be the most powerful in the state.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you would argue the governor would be more powerful potentially. But and it would seem they would know each other. I don't know, but
You would hope.
maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, he said she told me to stop asking questions about data centers and higher electricity rates. Not a chance. These data centers are massive electricity hogs. True. That's why Silicon Valley wants more transmission lines, solar farms, and windmills. Oh my gosh. Okay, and this is the line that gets me. Okay, let's just. Okay, again, who else doesn't like solar and wind is Senator O'Loughlin. But I mean, and keep in mind, Senate Bill 4 was designed not to, certainly not to encourage renewable energy. And in fact, a lot of it was designed to discourage renewable energy, such as the watt to watt segment of that, which said that if you're going to replace base load, you had to make sure it wasn't intermittent power that it replaced it with. Somebody has to pay for it all. And don't believe any politician who says it won't ultimately be you. Okay, that's also true. Ratepayers are going to, like, if a utility company builds stuff, you more likely than not, a ratepayer is going to have to pay for it. That's true. Now, our friend Tim Opitz, who is a lawyer for the Missouri Energy Consumer Group, had done he actually went to one of these PSC events and was presenting and talking about how, like, since 1979, utility rates in Missouri have gone up by 100%. Which, that's not quite 50 years, but that's a significant bit of inflation, I think. Now, the other challenge is, and this is where you could push back on U.S. Senator Hawley, is, electricity is running a lot. It runs a lot. It has a lot of demand on it. There is going to be a need to replace it with some frequency. It might be decades, but it certainly is. I would certainly say that it would not be unfair to say that our grid in this country is aged or aging. Okay, so it is going to have to be replaced by somebody. But then he goes on. He says, this same politician has taken over $20,000, and he has the money emoji there, just in case that wasn't clear, from Ameren, the very utility she told me not to question, just in the last 2 years. And she supported the green new scam, Grain Belt Express, that tried to seize farmers' land for transmission lines. Not good things for Missouri. Well, I will. One thing I would note is that Senator Laughlin, who does come from some means, or her family runs a business. She hasn't taken a lot of political contributions, but she has taken money from and certainly her political action committee has taken money. I mean, just recently, her political action committee took money from Evergy, and she has taken money from Ameren as well. But everybody in Jefferson City has taken money from Ameren and Evergy and Liberty Empire. I mean, not some more than others. But yeah, I mean they're active. Safe to say
Yeah, 100%.
that
I
yeah,
mean, it's safe to say that, yes, we all take money from a lot of those groups.
yeah. We're not passing judgment here, Emily Weber. I, believe it or not, I'm sure I have some donors that some people would like be like, I don't like that. So, but but that is, I mean, again, it is a very sharp, edgy response from one lawmaker in the same party to another.
I mean, I would like to see Josh Hawley's MEC reports or
Oh, or the FEC. Is it
yeah, FEC.
FEC? Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't looked. Hmm, we should do that.
I mean, I'd like to see who Josh Hawley is taking money from if he's going to throw that out.
It's a good question. I don't know. But then this kind of died down after this. But then again, we go back to the fact that we just had these large load tariffs that were approved by the Public Service Commission. Oh, I also should, I guess, point out about the Grain Belt Express. Every transmission line has to seek, I mean, if you're being built by a utility company, it's going to receive the ability to exercise eminent domain if they can't work out a deal with the landowner. I understand eminent domain is not popular. I understand that, Lord knows, I understand Grain Belt Express is not very popular, even though that is a project that this organization supports and has advocated for. But I get it. I get why farmers don't want transmission lines going over their property. In fact, as I like to point out, my family farm in Southwest Missouri has a transmission line going over that's owned by the co-ops. But because they're the co-ops, no one ever like really says like, oh, the co-op shouldn't do that. They just, I mean, like no one gets up and, I mean, no one has tried to, like they did with the Grain Belt Express, try to say like this particular project should not be approved. Don't worry, this is not some Batman origin story where I'm like trying to like seek retribution about anybody, but it's something I like to point out that I have personal experience with. Okay. So that's where Senator Hawley left this. I don't know if Ameren ever responded to his letter. I don't know if anybody on this webinar knows that. Certainly it wasn't made public, and certainly Senator Hawley didn't make it public if they did. But I imagine that Ameren's got pretty good public relations and government relations people, and I'm sure they responded to him. I did not know what they said. It was what I think we're trying to point out with this is that like I think this is ultimately what I want to point out is we have not seen the consequences of data centers and what they're going to do to rates in Missouri. And we might not for a couple of years. Um, because as an example, like one thing I would say, and we don't have a slide on this, but after Ameren's large load tariff was approved by the PSC on, I think that was on November 24th. The next day, Amazon announced they were going to build a pretty massive data center campus in Montgomery County, Missouri, which is in between Columbia and St. Louis on Highway 70. I mean, I don't think that timing was coincidental. I think they were probably waiting to make sure that deal was approved by the PSC. And then, yeah, and okay, I'm just going to say this real quick. Montgomery County announced this was going to be built in Montgomery County. And then last Monday, I believe, the for some reason, well, they had a local, they had like kind of a town hall meeting about these data centers, from which my understanding is that the Montgomery County Planning and Zoning and the County Commission have already approved them to be put in that spot. but 700 people came to a gymnasium in rural Montgomery County, all of them against these data centers. All of them. All of them that spoke anyway. And they were not happy. Now I don't know what that's going to result in as far, and the county commission was there. They were trying to explain why they thought this would be good for Montgomery County, and these people were not having it at all. So, um, I don't know. Emily Weber, I don't know what to think of this. I mean, so okay, well then I know I'm running out of time. I'm not going to ask you. So we'll just go to the next slide. Okay. We added this kind of at the last minute. And I mean, I know we've only got 2 minutes here because I started at 11:03 and this is only 50 minutes. We're doing therapy hours for CLEs. So we only do 50 minutes. And you're not paying for any extra because you didn't pay me at all. So, President Trump signed a new executive order regarding artificial intelligence. In order for the United States to be the global leader for artificial intelligence, the government believes companies need fewer regulations to innovate. And so this executive order seeks to grant broad authority to the Attorney General to sue states and overturn laws that do not support the United States global AI dominance. And within 30 days of this executive order, there is to be a task force established to challenge state laws. Now, the government wants one AI standard across all 50 states. However, states will still be allowed to regulate certain standards as data centers, child protections, and statewide use of AI. Now, we double checked this to make sure that's what this actually said. I look at these exceptions. I don't know what else they would be wanting to regulate. But maybe they do. I don't know. Because I can tell you that in the legislature this year already, Emily Weber, some of your colleagues have proposed bills to, among other things, like say you can't use AI in political ads.
Yep.
Good luck with that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know that there are some bills that have been filed in the Missouri legislature for the next session that are supposed to be addressing AI, limitations on it, that sort of thing. I don't know if they're going to go anywhere. I know certainly that a lot of these data centers that are wanting to locate in Missouri have retained contract lobbyists.
I mean,
Uh,
next session is going to be a toss up on what happens, what goes and what moves and what doesn't.
oh boy, it's going to be really exciting. I can't wait to see what happens, Emily. I bet no one else on here can either. Um, Honestly, I wish I could do all of these with you. I have a lot of fun doing these with Emily Weber, because she's very funny. She's very engaging, and we can kind of talk about the nitty-gritty stuff about all of this. But we are at the end, and we didn't even get to all of our slides. I hope you enjoyed this. I know we probably have a lot of questions. I think what I'm going to try to do is, if we have, I think maybe what we'll do if we have a bunch of questions, and we have 19 chats here. Oh Lord, that's a lot. Maybe we'll try to answer those. We'll see if we can try to answer some of those and get those answers to everyone. Unless they're asking me why I suck as bad as I do, I probably won't answer that question. I think that's self-evident. So, but otherwise, I'm going to end this. We probably should have made this longer if you want to know the truth. Maybe we'll do this again. I think we'll find another reason to talk about data centers.
I was going to say, I mean, next session, there's going to be a lot of legislation that's going to be proposed.
Oh,
So, I mean,
oh,
yeah.
yeah, Emily Weber. You know, that just reminded me. I think what we've talked about is in January we want to do a webinar on the solar moratorium. So that will be a real treat. So look forward to that. This is how you can get a hold of us. That's our address. Please send us a check there. We're raising money towards the end of the year. I want to thank everyone again for joining. I got a thing at noon. I got to go. Yes, Elise, thank you. Elise Schaefer, who was with MCE, she's the best. You're all the best. So thank you. And we'll let you get on with the rest of your Tuesday. All right. Thanks again.